Hello, I'm Glenn Smith, Board Chairman and CEO of the Farm Credit Administration. I'm broadcasting today from the beautiful FCA park behind our building about a week before Thanksgiving. As we approach the Thanksgiving holiday, I want to do something a little different this year. In honor of this holiday, when Americans pause to give thanks at tables loaded with food, I'd like to take you on a brief virtual tour of where it all starts, the farm. And at a special time of year on the farm, harvest, where all the planning, the toil, and the risk come together for the year's efforts. Now, I know that some of you have experience on a farm, but many of you do not. And I think it's so important for every FCA employee to understand the important mission you're part of. Farming requires a lot of capital, and many farmers and ranchers can't operate without it. Whatever your role at FCA, whether you examine institutions, develop policy, or provide support services to your colleagues at the agency, you play an important role in ensuring that the U.S. farmers and ranchers have dependable and affordable credit to raise the food that we put on our tables on Thanksgiving Day and every day. The farm I'll be showing you is the one my wife and I own today and started in the early 1980s as beginning sharecrop tenant farmers. It's one of our nation's nearly 2 million farms. Located near the western Iowa town of Atlantic, it consists of about 2,000 acres of corn and soybeans and a small beef cattle herd. Since joining the FCA board, I've turned over the management and operation of this farm to our 31-year-old son, Peter. And I got to tell you, he's done an outstanding job. As parents, we couldn't be prouder. You'll see me and Pete and some of our part-time employees in the footage I'll be showing you now. So come along with me and let's see what it's like on a typical Midwestern farm at harvest time. In the days leading up to harvest, farmers across the United States have to get their machinery in good shape for the long days ahead. Pre-harvest and daily maintenance are the keys to keeping these expensive machines rolling, and that's what Peter is doing here. Maintenance helps prevent breakdowns, which are expensive in terms of crop loss and inefficiency, in particular if there's bad weather in the forecast. Now we're rolling. Note the GPS globe on the top of the combine cab. GPS helps steer the machine and adjust the height of cut of the crop. The operator views 3 computer monitors inside the cab. One screen shows the crop yield and moisture on the go and transfers the information to a field map. Another screen measures field loss and grain threshing operations. Another screen shows engine and machine functions. Combines are versatile machines used for cutting and threshing grain. Originally designed to harvest wheat, they are now used to harvest many other crops, including corn and soybeans, on our farm. On the front of the combine is a removable header designed for the specific crop you are harvesting. The header you see here is used for harvesting corn. The combine is a very expensive machine, costing hundreds of thousands of dollars depending on the age, size, and condition of the machine, and it depreciates rapidly. Just imagine trying to buy one of these without affordable credit. This year, Pete planted about 900 acres of corn and 1,000 acres of soybeans, and it took him approximately 240 hours of combining time to harvest it all. Oh, by the way, the steam rising in the distance is from the ethanol plant, where we sell most of our corn throughout the year. The combine strips the ears from the stalks, shucks the corn, and removes the kernels from the cob. An auger transports the corn to a small bin inside the combine, and the residue from the stalks is blown out the back of the machine. But not all of the residue makes it out of the back of the combine. Some of it accumulates inside the machine, which can create a real fire hazard from the friction of the moving parts. So as a maintenance item, every day Pete blows the excess residue out of the machine with a high-velocity leaf blower. This is not the most coveted job on the farm. At harvest, time is of the essence because you never know when the weather will change. So most of the time, we don't even stop the combine to empty its bin. Instead, we unload on the go into a grain cart that a tractor pulls alongside the combine. This also saves on machine hours, reducing the machine's depreciation rate. Whoops, got the grain cart a little too full that time. That's okay, the pheasants and deer will be happy. From the grain cart, the corn is transported to the farm site where it's emptied into a gravity flow wagon. From this wagon, the grain flows into the base of an auger. An auger is a long tube that conveys the grain to the top of the bins. The bins allow you to store the grain for a future contracted price or to wait until prices improve. This was a pretty good year despite the dry summer. Peter got 190 to 200 bushels of corn per acre, and thanks to improved exports, the price were considerably better later in 2020. Corn is being currently sold for about $4 a bushel, with hopes for future improvement and representing a modest profit. For farmers years ago, sundown meant quitting time. Not anymore. With the high-powered lights on our tractors and combines, we can work well into the night. After all the corn is harvested, most of it is transported from the farm by semi to the local ethanol plant, Elite Octane, where it's sold. Ethanol is big business. In the United States, about 1/3 of all corn harvested is used to produce ethanol, and a bushel of corn produces about 3 gallons of ethanol. This plant is an important asset to the town of Atlantic, Iowa, with its population of about 7,000 people. It provides around 40 good-paying jobs. When this plant was built 3 years ago, its grain bins were the largest in the world. Each bin can hold up to 2 million bushels. This particular plant is one of the first new generation plants built for improved efficiency in the production of ethanol. Rather than using fresh water in its operations, the plant uses recycled wastewater from the town of Atlantic. In general, ethanol plants require lots of water to create the mash from which ethanol is produced and extracted. In fact, you can see that water right now rising in thick columns of steam. What a lot of people don't realize is that ethanol production creates valuable byproducts other than just ethanol. And those byproducts are worth up to 30% the value of a bushel of corn. One of the most important of these is a product called DDGs, or dried distillers grains, which is a protein-rich product fed to ruminant livestock. As I mentioned before, Pete also planted soybeans this year in addition to corn. As you can see, he's using a different header on the combine to cut the beans. This head is almost 40 feet wide. To give you a little perspective, the head of the first combine we owned was only 12.5 feet wide. Like corn, soybeans also experienced a significant price increase in the second half of 2020, with many farmers currently getting over $10 a bushel. This is more than twice the price per bushel of corn, but soybean yields are a lot lower per acre. This year, Pete got about 55 to 57 bushels per acre. After subtracting the cost for all the inputs, like corn, he will make a modest profit. Like many farms across the United States, ours is a diversified operation, with off-farm income contributing significantly to overall financial growth. My wife worked most of her life as a health professional in a local hospital. Peter's wife is a third-grade teacher. That is why overall ag prosperity is closely tied to a vibrant, robust rural economy. Almost 60% of our nation's corn goes into the feed rations for our cattle, hog, dairy, and poultry operations. Here's an example of a neighborhood cattle feedlot where the ration of the day is being blended in a portable feeding wagon. A scale allows accurate measurement of each ingredient as the payloader dumps each feedstuff into the wagon. This is a herd of brood cows where all beef production starts. On average, they're between 9 and 11 years old. They're grazing a field that was covered in corn last year, and it's now planted with a cover crop of ryegrass over the winter. These cows were all bred to calve in April. The calf stays with its mother until it's weaned in late summer when it weighs about 500 pounds. When each calf weighs around 600 to 700 pounds, they are transferred to the feedlot for finishing. One of the fathers of the calves we raise is this handsome 2,000-pound Angus bull named Arnie. As you see, Arnie likes to get his ears scratched. And while we're talking livestock, I'd like to briefly show you an area hog feeding operation. This is a newer building which accommodates around 2,000 head of hogs. Along the edges are heavy curtains that are open in the summertime for cool breezes and closed in the wintertime for warmth. Keeping the animals comfortable is both humane and good for business. The more comfortable they are, the healthier they are, and the higher the return will be on your investment. They are usually sold for pork when they reach a weight of 260 to 270 pounds. Now that the harvest is past, Pete has time to turn his attention to some land improvement projects. He's hired a contractor with a bulldozer to build some soil and water conservation structures on the farm. These include some new terrace structures which capture excess surface water and channel it underground to a pond that we built last year. In the background, you can see buffer strips that we've entered into the Conservation Reserve Program. These strips are seeded with native grasses like little bluestem and switchgrass. Wildlife love to shelter here. Just as you have to take care of your livestock properly, if you want to be successful, you have to take care of the land too. Farmers are the original stewards of the land and the most important contributors to improving our nation's soil and water quality. Carbon sequestration is becoming a major topic in climate change discussions, and conservation measures in agriculture are offering a possible partial solution. At Smith Generation Farms, we've always embraced a multitude of conservation practices, including no-till mulch planting, crop rotation, precision nutrient placement, cover crops, grass waterways, contour buffer strips, terraces, and ponds. We don't farm for today, we farm for tomorrow. So there you have it, a speed tour of Smith Generation Farms. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope it gives you a renewed sense of the important mission that the agency plays in the agriculture industry. When you have to purchase combines and tractors and invest thousands of dollars in seed and fertilizer and feed just to plant your crop and feed your livestock each year, most farmers can't do that without dependable, affordable credit. That's where FCA comes in the picture. We don't make the loans, but we do make sure the loans are available and affordable. And finally, a quick note about this past year. 2020 has presented people across the country and around the world with challenges we've never faced before, but like difficult times often do, it has also helped us to reflect on what's really important in life and what's essential and what's not. Face it, there's nothing more essential to our lives than food. So I thank you for doing your part this past year to support the men and women who produce the food that feeds our nation and much of the world. When I sit down at the Thanksgiving table this week, one of the things I'll be thankful for is the honor and the privilege I have to be part of this agency's great mission. I hope you'll feel the same. Thanks for all your hard work this year, and have a happy Thanksgiving.
Shine, 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 shine